Hi there, good morning. It's Friday, the 9th of July 2021, and I'm doing a voiceover today because, oh gosh, this morning was a bit of a mare. And you can just see I'm picking up some water that splashed out of my water brush there. I'll come back to the drawing in a moment. It's bin day today, so it got very noisy a couple of times as the lorries that do the recycling came around, and the chaps who work on them are really incredibly noisy at times. Um, and I also started talking about things that I don't really want to talk about in a vlog. It's not connected with art or my relationship with art or my relationship with myself, I suppose, in some ways. But here we are. And this is yet another iteration of that abstract art that I'm doing. I did start off by showing lots of all the things I've done this week, but I'll do that tomorrow when it's quieter, and perhaps I'll have other things to show. This is a piece of the Canson Moulin de Roy. It's 16 centimetres by 8 centimetres, which is, I don't know what in inches. I'll have a look. Hang on, let me get a ruler so I can check. Ugh. So 8 centimetres is about 3¼ and 16 centimetres a little bit less than 6½ inches. So it's not a huge piece of paper, but I do like working on teeny tiny bits of paper. Because my drawing tends to be on the small side and small scale anyway, so this is nice to do. And if I use a big sheet of paper, it takes me hours and hours and hours to complete a drawing. So smaller pieces are great for trying things out, but I also quite like the cuteness of them. This is me. The bright pink on there is fuchsia from Inktense, and the colour I'm using at the moment is thistle. As you can see with the first layer of shapes, which I did yesterday, I kept them all in one colour. I went for that monochrome look because I wanted to tie these particular layers of the pattern together. And I was trying to decide a bit earlier, what colours do I use? What colour do I use with fuchsia? Do I go with complementary? Do I go with triadic colours? Complementary are colours that are opposite each other on the colour wheel. So opposite to fuchsia would be kind of lime green, I suppose. Triadic are 3 colours that are equally spaced around the colour wheel, and I couldn't tell you what they are at the moment because I haven't got a colour wheel stuffed in my head. I've got one here somewhere. In fact, I've most probably got several stuffed around the house I can't find. But if you're interested, you can always look it up. But I decided to go with analogous colours. And analogous colours are close to each other on the colour wheel. So the second colour I'm using here is thistle, which is it's more between pink and purple. Between fuchsia, pink and purple. And I rather like thistle as a colour. It's a warm purpley colour. And it works out quite nicely. Because I was talking while I was doing this, I wasn't paying as much attention to where I put the pencil down, the Inktense pencil down. And I ended up not having a smooth a blend of colour or blend out of colour as I did in the other bits. But I go back and partly fix that at the end of the video. And it's just something really nice to do. So while this is happening, you can see what I'm doing here. Just bits of news. I finished inking in the last of the 30 out of 31 templates for Whimsical Cats yesterday. So the 30 templates I've done have been zipped up and sent off to you can see on the one that I've just done there where there's that patchiness there, and I go back and try to amend that later on when it's dried a bit. Yep, so those are off with the editors to look at and check with a fresh set of eyes, because I'll miss things that I just don't see because I'm so familiar with them, whereas they pick up things that I don't necessarily think are a problem, and they might see, well, this looks a bit awkward, can you alter it? So I may have editing to do. And I haven't had news about the 31st one that I sent off, because I did send 2 off, but they were deemed a bit too samey really. But it's fine. You know, this is the process of creating a book. If you self-publish, you have to do all of this yourself, and not always successfully. Whereas when you've got other people who can cast a professional eye on things, and give you good feedback as how to tweak things to improve them just that little bit, then it's really, really helpful. And of course, I'm learning from this process as well. Not always so well sometimes when I come back and go, oh, I've done that again. But anyway, there we are. So that's done. So I'm in a bit of a limbo with that, because I don't know what 3 templates I'm going to need to add colour to, and I haven't got that last one to ink in yet, but that's okay as well. You know, once I get that, it won't take too long, and it can be done, and then I can look at getting those 3 templates coloured hopefully next week, because they'll take about 1 or 2 days each, because they do take quite a while for me to colour, which I'll be doing digitally. So you may get some sneak peeks, maybe not, as I'm aware that people seem to like my digital art. So there we are. And of course I didn't have a voice track on my art yesterday, because I forgot to turn the microphone on, well, on the screen recording, because in the past I haven't really talked while I've been doing digital art. I find it hard because I have to think so hard, and doing a voiceover, yeah, well, I just ought to do a chat over really, shouldn't I? Which is what this is. So I'm getting close to the end of adding the colour in the middle there. Just a couple of bits left to do, so we'll be zooming soon to the end of the video, I'm sure, the speeded up version. So there's that. So I'm a bit at a loss today what to do. I've got a number of pieces of abstract art here that I need to decide whether I'm going to try out adding pattern or texture with either black, white or metallics or other colours. I also want to scan some in or use them to create patterns to try some digital art versions of these. Yeah, you can see me going here and adding some colour to try to smooth out those rather not very well, very good examples of graduation of colour there, or gradation of colour. I'm never sure if it's graduation or gradation, or whether both are equally applicable. Oh, you get the point now, I'm sure. So that's something I want to do. I do need to go out because I've put it off for a couple of days, but I need to send a blood sample off for the Virus Watch survey, which involves looking for antibodies in the population for COVID. And the last 3 tests have all been positive because I've been vaccinated. So I had no antibodies before then. Doesn't mean I've never had COVID. It just means there are no antibodies. So you can't tell whether you've had COVID or not unless it's fairly soon afterwards, when you still have antibodies in your body. So I think they're partly looking as well to see how long the antibodies persist, how well the vaccines have worked. Now here you could just see, I was looking at another colour, an analogous colour to use, and I've gone with mauve, which is more of a purpley colour. And I tested it on the back of the paper against the other 2, or next to the other 2, to see if it was enough of a difference to use, because it would be awful if I ended up with something that was like very fuchsia-like next door and you can't really see the shapes and patterns. But I went with this rather than violet, because the mauve is more of a warmer purple than violet, still cooler than the others. And I actually don't do a very good job here of adding colour. I think I was beginning to rush because I was aware of time passing. But when I've got some slow time today, I can go back and adjust that, because that's easy enough to do. But again, it's waiting for the paper to dry properly. And with cotton paper, it does take a while. So that's what I want to do today. Part of me would love to go to a church or an abbey and sit and draw, but I'm not quite sure what the rules are about visiting places, if they're open, or whether you have to book in advance. And there's all of this, is of COVID. But I'm also very conscious that I've got a sore foot, and it's getting better. It's not as swollen as it was, but with the swelling going, there's a lot more soreness, paradoxically, perhaps. My foot moves easier, but I can still feel there's something not right there, and it's just going to take time to heal. It's nothing broken, because I'd be in absolute agony, I'm sure. But there we are. So that's about it, really, other than, I know I whittled on about how insecure I can be with my art, and how I seem to value certain things. I'm forever trying to find that way of expressing myself artistically, or ways that work for me. But I also know the value of exploring and experimenting with different kinds of media and different kinds of art, because it keeps everything fresh and keeps the creativity going, and it pushes new boundaries, perhaps. And when I return to perhaps the more entangled pen drawings that you're used to seeing from me, then I come back with it with fresh ideas, perhaps, or fresh eyes, and a freshness to it. Because I can get a bit jaded and a bit fed up, I suppose, of things, and especially when I've been working on books. I'd just like to say thank you for watching. Thank you for joining me on this rather quickly spoken voiceover. There you are, I lost the word I was looking for. Hope you've enjoyed it. I've got some things to think about doing this going forward, but I'll work it out eventually. But thank you for staying with me. I hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and what you've heard, and I look forward to seeing you again soon. Until then, please take care, be creative, whatever that may mean to you, and we'll catch up again soon. Bye-bye.